don't want to live in China anymore. I want to learn English, work abroad, and even drive a taxi for the rest of my life. I don't want to live on this land of China anymore. It's too disgusting. Zhang Ke, a pseudonym at the request of the interviewee, the owner of an online sports lottery distribution store in Guangzhou, China, told VOA. 2 years ago, Zhang Ke, who was in his early 30s, opened an online sports lottery distribution store with his friends. Users who buy lottery tickets can directly contact store owners like Zhang Ke on platforms such as WeChat. This saves users the trouble of going to the National Sports Lottery Center's business outlets to buy in person, and Zhang Ke earns the difference. The distribution store's business is still decent, and Zhang Ke has earned about 400,000 yuan in 2 years. However, Zhang Ke's life suddenly turned upside down in July. All his bank accounts were frozen. The bank said my account was frozen by a public security bureau in Nanlei County, Puyang City, Henan Province. I called the police bureau, and they asked me to bring my bank statements and some store opening documents to make a written statement. After checking the documents, they asked me to go back and wait, and then asked me to go again 2 months later. Zhang Ke told VOA that he later joined a WeChat group and found that there were many sports lottery distributors whose bank accounts were frozen like his. I didn't expect so many people were involved. The police asked them for money under this pretense, and the money was transferred to their personal accounts, not the public accounts of the Public Security Bureau. Many people in our group transferred money to the police, some via WeChat, some via Alipay, and some directly to bank accounts. They said they would pay the fine for you. Zhang Ke said, "Now any police station in any place has the authority to directly freeze your card. The current distant sea fishing is very serious. They don't need to go through the court. They can directly freeze your card at the station just by clicking the mouse." Distant sea fishing and lack of protection of corporate property rights. The distant sea fishing mentioned by Zhang Ke refers to the practice of some local public security organs in China, capturing, sealing, freezing, and even transferring the property of private enterprises and individuals in other provinces and regions for profit. The industry calls it distant sea fishing, analogous to coastal fishermen going out to sea and reeling in whatever they catch. Teng Biao, a visiting professor at the City University of New York, commented in an interview with Voice of America, "The term distant sea fishing is a bit misleading and too light. In fact, it is the government's robbery of private enterprises. It is said to be handling cases and enforcing the law, but in reality, it is just a way to grab money. Handling cases in other places is not the focus, because they also use this method to grab money locally. For those companies that have no backing and are not in favor with the government, they find ways to take their money. They ask the companies to pay protection fees, or bankrupt the companies and arrest the entrepreneurs. The crackdown on gangs and crime in the past was basically a money-grabbing operation. The property rights of enterprises have no institutional protection." The lottery management regulations, implemented by the State Council of China on July 1, 2009, did not mention internet lottery sales. In the detailed rules for the implementation of the lottery management regulations, jointly revised by the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Civil Affairs, and the State General Administration of Sports, and implemented on October 1, 2018, welfare lottery and sports lottery sold on the internet without authorization are classified as illegal lotteries. Zhang Ke believes that his business is not illegal, but falls into a gray area. He said, "I looked at the judgment documents website, and no similar cases have been brought to court." The current situation in China is that all lottery buyers add the store owner's WeChat, and few people go to the store to buy directly. The user pays, and the store owner takes a photo and sends it to them on WeChat. Then, if they win a prize the next day, the winnings are transferred to them. The Public Security Bureau has now found a loophole in the management and sales of sports lottery, which technically cannot be sold online. But this is just a management regulation, not a law. Yet the Public Security Bureau can use this to go after thousands or tens of thousands of our store owners. The fines are not returned to the state. They are collected directly by them, which is very problematic. The phenomenon of distant sea fishing is worsening. Tang Biao told VOA that the so-called distant sea fishing, profit-seeking law enforcement in other areas, is not new in China. He said, many private enterprises, including citizens running small businesses, face an extremely challenging legal and political environment. Making money and surviving in an environment like China without breaking the law is unlikely, because there are many gray areas in the law. Under China's imperfect and distorted market system, it's easy to label them as illegal. Since October, a Guangdong Provincial Situation Internal Reference, written by the Guangdong Provincial Situation Investigation and Research Center under the Guangdong Provincial Publishing Group, has circulated among the public. The report said that in recent years, cities in the Pearl River Delta like Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Dongguan have become high-incidence areas for off-site law enforcement. Taking Guangzhou as an example, since 2023, nearly 10,000 companies such as Pupu, Yijiankang, and Jujun have experienced off-site law enforcement, mostly private enterprises. In some areas, local public security departments have started to push back. For example, in August this year, the Jubao police station in Hangzhou issued a notice. Foreign public security organs are not allowed to illegally enter enterprises to handle cases. If found, please record evidence and report it. On October 30th, Sina Finance published an article titled, "Distant Sea Fishing Has Become Popular. Why Are Local Governments So Crazy?" pointing to tight finances as the reason. Distant sea fishing has long existed, but the problem becomes more prominent under high fiscal pressure. On October 8th, Zheng Jiajie, director of the National Development and Reform Commission of China, said at a press conference that administrative law enforcement units should further standardize their administrative behavior, adopt more inclusive and prudent oversight, and flexible enforcement methods. They should not enforce laws off-site or for profit, impose arbitrary fines, conduct random inspections, or seal buildings unnecessarily. Where needed, supervision should address abnormal increases in fines and confiscations. Under profit-seeking law enforcement, small business owners struggle to protect their rights. Zhang Ke told VOA that he was unaware of distant sea fishing before, but recent experiences with his own and other businesses opened his eyes. He said, "The state has given police power to freeze bank cards at will. Why is deep-sea fishing so common now? It's because local governments have run out of money. Some have no financial revenue. Buildings and land can't be sold. With no funds from the central government, they target ordinary citizens and businesses to generate income." The Chinese media outlet Jiangmen News reported on October 20th that tight local finances are the root of profit-driven law enforcement. A source from a Southwestern Provincial Supervision Commission stated, "In some cases, local governments use fines and confiscations as a basis to allocate funds. Regions with good finances allocate funds proportionally, while regions with fiscal shortfalls may retain the full amount." Currently a fugitive, Zhang Ke feels trapped in a Chinese province. Believing he has not broken the law, he told VOA, "I don't want to compromise. I'm in my early 30s and not old yet. I don't think this country should operate like this. I don't want to give in to their demands for money. Right is right, and wrong is wrong." However, Zhang Ke has little cash left. He said, "The Public Security Bureau acts like a gang, abusing power with no oversight. I have no money left to live on and don't know what to do next. My account is frozen, and I can't withdraw any funds. I'm overwhelmed and may not hold on. I want to pursue my rights through official channels, but I haven't received any response. I tried the State Council's reporting app and 12,389, a reporting platform for government misconduct. Other store owners have also reported it, but no response has come. We have no voice." Zhang Ke feels he may have no choice in the end. "I've used every channel. I fear I may ultimately have to compromise." Alert. The Central Bank of China has opened Pandora's box. The best escape is in these few days. The Twitter account xuanlc.eth.lens is a blogger followed by many Chinese people. The author often provides realistic commentary on the current Chinese economy. The latest article, discussing the impact on the foreign exchange market, stock market, and real estate market in mainland China, has been widely shared among Chinese people. At the beginning of the article, the author said, "Originally, I planned to write a macroeconomic analysis over these 2 days, but now I have too many followers, and I'm afraid of being reported, so I won't publish it. After all, if you follow Teacher Lee on Twitter, you might get invited for tea." Let me just briefly touch on the topic. This epic monetary release has essentially started printing money without an anchor. This breaks the bottom line set by former Prime Minister Zhu Rongji during the 1994 financial reforms, which had remained intact for the past 30 years. Now, with the economy in such poor shape, Pandora's box has been opened. If money continues to be released without limits, only one among the exchange rate, stock market, or real estate market can be saved. Exchange rate. The RMB does not have the conditions for appreciation. The previous 7th point, 3 key point, was waiting for the U.S. interest rate cut. However, after the cut, the U.S.-China interest rate gap has not narrowed, but instead has given China some easing room. The continued outflow of foreign capital will not change, and foreign trade is also continuing to shrink. This time, the sharp appreciation of the RMB occurred because it took advantage of the U.S. interest rate cut to withdraw liquidity massively from the offshore RMB market, guiding the appreciation of the domestic exchange rate. This tactic cannot last long, and at most it will reach 6.95 to 6.9. Stock market. Since I started writing on Mirror in 2021, I have always emphasized that every rebound in A shares is the last chance to escape. This wave of policies aims to make retail investors use all their bank deposits to leverage stocks, and there is a high probability that they will end up with a mess. I think the week after National Day is the best time to exit. It will be difficult to break through 3,300 during this wave, with an upper limit of 3,500. Now many people are shouting for 4,000 or 5,000 points, which is either ignorant or malicious. Hui Jin borrowed 1 trillion yuan to protect the stock market at the beginning of the year and accumulated a lot of shares below 3,000 points. These shares need to be passed on to retail investors. Real estate market. The 2 largest waves of increases in China's real estate market were the monetization of shantytown renovation and price hikes to reduce inventory in 2016 to 2017, which caused housing prices to double in 2 years. The second was the large-scale monetary release in 2019 to 2020, which led to at least a 50% increase. Starting from the high point in 2021, housing prices in cities like Shenzhen and Hangzhou, which are leveraged for real estate speculation, have basically fallen back to the 2016 to 2017 levels, trapping most people. Shanghai and Beijing are slightly better, likely at 2018 to 2019 levels. I think Shenzhen and Hangzhou will at least return to their pre-2016 price levels, while Shanghai and Beijing will return to their 2016 to 2017 levels before stabilizing. At the end of the article, the author gives investment advice to people in mainland China. Don't buy stocks or real estate. If possible, convert RMB into US dollars or US dollar-denominated assets. If there are no other options, buy physical gold in China, which not only avoids RMB exchange rate risks, but also hedges against geopolitical risks. Nomura Securities. The risk of a Chinese stock market crash is rising rapidly. Last week, Chinese Communist Party authorities introduced a series of measures to boost the weak economy, including cutting bank reserve requirements, allowing millions of homeowners to renegotiate with lenders, and lowering mortgage rates. These measures have driven a rebound in Chinese stocks, and many investors are optimistic that China's stock market will enter a bull market. However, economists at Nomura Securities warned that investors should soberly assess and prepare for a sharp decline following the rebound in Chinese stocks, as the current economic foundation is much weaker than before the COVID-19 pandemic. In the most pessimistic scenario, the stock market mania will be followed by a crash, similar to what happened in 2015. Economists led by Ting Lu wrote in a note to clients on Thursday, October 3rd. They warned that a bubble in the Chinese stock market is brewing, and the probability of a pessimistic outcome may be much higher than a more optimistic scenario. In the coming weeks, the risk of China repeating the ups and downs of 2015 will rise rapidly. On Monday, China's benchmark stock index posted its biggest gain since 2008, before the country's stock market closed for the National Day holiday. On Wednesday, Hong Kong's benchmark Hang Seng Index surged for a 13th straight day before retreating on Thursday, spreading market optimism. However, economists at Nomura Securities cautioned, while investors can still indulge in the current enthusiasm, a more sober assessment is needed. They noted that the nearly 4-year real estate crisis, high local government debt, escalating geopolitical tensions, the bursting of the investment bubble in the new energy sector, and the sharp decline in trust between the public and private sectors have all contributed to the fragility of the economy. If the rebound turns to depression, it could be worse than expected, with massive capital flight and depreciation pressure on the renminbi. Nomura warned investors that after enjoying the initial rally, they may need to prepare for the worst scenario. Neo Wang, managing director of China research at Evercore ISI in New York, believes a repeat of the 2015 stock market crash would be too much for the Communist Party leadership to bear.